Hey friends, it's Alora. I am doing another weekly reading vlog. I'm really excited. I did skip a week of reading vlogs, and that's because I started off the week strong and then towards the end of the week I didn't vlog at all, and it just wasn't going to be a very enjoyable video to watch. So I decided to try again this week, starting over. So I've been having a bit of a reading slump. I've still been reading, but I just have not been enjoying it. And so several of the books that I've been reading and slogging my way through are City of Brass, which is an Egyptian mythology fantasy type book about jinn or genies. And I do want to finish it, but I still have 200 pages and it's just taking me forever, so I need a little break from that. I've also been reading Grasshopper Jungle, which is a surrealist novel by Andrew Smith. It's a little inconvenient for me to pull out of my bag right now. Or maybe I'm just a little too lazy at the moment, but I have not been enjoying that whatsoever. So I just need to take a break, take a step back, read a few things that I'm going to enjoy. So this week I'm going to focus on a couple of books that have either been on my radar for a while or just came out that I really want to get into. So the first book that I'm going to read this week is a YA fantasy called Two Dark Reigns. I'm sure most of you know about this book. This is the third book in Kendara Blake's Three Dark Crowns trilogy. I believe it's a trilogy. This is the third one. It has deckled edges. I don't know, you probably can't tell, but that's my favorite thing in book design. Anyway, I'm really looking forward to reading that. I did just read her novellas that you're supposed to read before this. I read that a few months ago, so I feel like I'm pretty fresh on the world and ready to dive into this third novel. I'm also reading Monstrous Volume 3. I'm buddy reading this, so it does take me a little bit longer to get through it. We're on page 35 right now, but the artwork is absolutely stunning. It's gorgeous, and I really love it. So I'll probably read some of that. It's just dependent on when we can both, have the time in the evenings to read it or have the mental energy at the end of the day. So there's that. I'm also planning on picking up Like a Mother, it's called A Feminist Journey Through the Science and Culture of Pregnancy. This book really interests me, and I've had it on my shelf for a couple of months now. I was planning on reading it for the Booktubeathon, but just didn't get around to it. So I think this is going to be the week. I think I'll take this book with me to work to read during my lunchtime. Okay, so I have a fiction, I have a nonfiction, I have a graphic novel, and I'm also listening to an audiobook. I'm listening to Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor right now. When I looked this morning, I had 10 hours of the audiobook left, and right now I have a little less than 9. I've already listened to an hour worth of audiobook, and I did read some pages in this morning, but I'm just gonna set this down for the week and be okay with not picking it up again for the rest of the week. So, Strange the Dreamer, Monstrous, Like a Mother, and Two Dark Reigns. I'm really happy about the docket for this week. So right now the game plan is that I'm going to go to a coffee shop to do a little bit of reading, to take a break from graduate school applications, which are stressful. So I'll take you along. Let's go ahead and go. Okay, so quick update. After I went to the coffee shop, I was feeling a little off, and I had a bunch of errands to run. Like, I had to go get stamps, and I had to print some things, and I had to return some things, and I did that, and I ended up at a couple of stores like Target on accident, and I bought this really beautiful, wow, you can't see it at all. It's really gorgeous, pastel marbled portfolio thing, so I can put my current writing in there. I like to print everything out and stick it in there. So I bought that. I also picked up my favorite pens. I'm totally a stationery nerd, and I picked up my favorite perfume, which is YSL's Black Opium, and I had run out of it, and I was so sad, and I haven't been smelling like anything for probably close to a month. But then when I got home, I had a package in the mail, and it was Sad Girls by Langley Ave, so I decided that I'm going to drop everything else that I'm reading and read this first. It's surprisingly thick. I thought that it would be pretty short, but it's actually pretty long, so I'm excited about that. And then I also happened to go to the clothing store and pick up some clothes, and I don't know if you care, but I'll show you anyway. So I bought this pretty white dress, and I bought this pretty gray sweater. It's a nice V, and it's really big and oversized, and I love that. And I bought this pretty cream color, like oatmeal colored, off the shoulder sweater, and I bought this hat that's a gorgeous color. And the last thing that I bought was the most expensive but so beautiful, this blazer this white. Oh my god, it's gorgeous. So I just spent a shit ton of money and I've changed my reading plans. So that's my update. Okay, well, I just got back from climbing and I'm not very good at it, but it's always a fun time. So now I think it's pretty late, but I haven't eaten dinner, so I think I'm gonna go make a smoothie bowl, which is probably not the best dinner food, but it's not the worst dinner food either. Also, I just want to put on my new hat. Did I show you my new hat? It's really cute. Okay, so anyway, I'm gonna make a smoothie bowl and I'm going to pick up Sad Girls, she says with a smile. I'm going to do a really quick update. So far I've read 70 pages of Sad Girls by Liev. So far I'm not loving it. I feel like her writing is more well suited to poetry, but I'm definitely going to finish it. I think that part of my issue with it, and I'll talk about this later, is that this is a story largely about grief. It's also a story about first love and about guilt and things like that, but any stories about grief I'm always really hard on, so I think that that's probably part of the reason why it's not a favorite so far. And then I also wanted to quickly discuss Like a Mother, because I did read about 47 pages of this yesterday when I was sitting at the coffee shop, and so far I really like it. There are a lot of facts in there and it's challenging a lot of the typical belief systems that people have, or at least in the West that we have surrounding pregnancy, and it's also challenging the idea that other people have a right to have opinions about your body if you're pregnant. I guess a lot of people provide unsolicited opinions and advice, and we have such strict ideas of what's right with pregnancy, but the author is stating that pregnancy is such a unique and individual experience that we should really lose a lot of the judgment surrounding what women choose to do with their bodies while pregnant. It's Thursday night and I'm about to finish up Sad Girls. Hey, so it's Saturday morning or early afternoon and I wanted to give you a quick update on where I am. Probably it won't be that quick. I'm going to give you an update on where I am. Okay, so I finished reading through Sad Girls, this one, on Thursday night. I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. I pretty much already talked about the reasons why I didn't like it, but there are a few more reasons I wanted to quickly detail. So the first one is I despised the main character. I thought that she was a horrible person, or at least that she made horrible life decisions, and she was very hurtful to the people in her life. She was a shitty friend, she was a shitty daughter, she just didn't have her act together, and she didn't really have redeemable qualities that I could pinpoint to make me feel bad for her or empathize with her or want to root for her. She just was unlikable, and I'm just glad that I don't know her in real life. This book had this kind of mystery element that just was underdeveloped. At the very beginning, you had some guilt stuff going on, and then you had a huge chunk of the middle that was nothing. It was just kind of like fluffy, her screwing up her life over and over and over, and then with a romance in there that was cringy. And then at the very end, you had another like big reveal that I just didn't like. I didn't like it. I didn't like the end. I didn't like the middle. I didn't like the beginning. It just wasn't for me. Liev is fantastic at writing poetry that comes from the heart and is very like feminine and empowering, but this book was not empowering in the least, and I just didn't like it. So 3 stars, that might be generous. We've already discussed that I'm most of the way through City of Brass and that I'm just not going to read it this week. I did pick back up Two Dark Rains once I finished Sad Girls. I made it about 35 pages in and decided that this is not the time for me to be reading this, so I think I'm going to put this down again. I'm just not getting into it, not enjoying it. Oh, I'm also still in the middle of reading Like a Mother, which is still very good, still very scientific. All the previous things that I've said about it hold true, and I don't think I'm going to read any more of that this week just because it's my read at work during my lunchtime book, and I have no more work days in this reading vlog. Hooray! So there's that. And then I'm about to start picking up The Power of Now, A Guide to Spiritual Enlightenment by Eckhart Tolle. This is a very famous, well-known book about being present, and I'm going to buddy read it with my mom. I feel like it's about time for me to read that one. And then also I'm going to do a big 360 here, and I'm going to pick up The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. I'm probably mispronouncing her name. I think she's like an 18-year-old author who wrote this epic fantasy based in Japan. I want to say Japan, but I could be wrong. It's about an opium war, which sounds like it's kind of based off of some things that actually happened in Asia. But I could be completely wrong there, but it's about opium and it's about this girl who completely changes the face of the war. That sounds really badass and cool. The very opening line is, I think it's like, take off your clothes or something like that. Take your clothes off. Rin blinked. What? So it starts off with a bang or something. And I'm really looking forward to picking this one up. I haven't really started it yet, so I'm going to go to the bookstore right now, the bookstore cafe, and sit down and read for a while. I'll read some of this, I'll read some of this, and I will also work on my graduate school application. I don't mean to sound negative about that. I'm really, really excited about this program. I just don't love application processes. Alrighty, let's go. Hey, so it's now Monday afternoon. I just wanted to film a quick outro because I never did. I got hit with the literal plague on Saturday night and have been completely leveled the entire weekend. So I still feel pretty crappy, but I just wanted to do a quick outro to wrap up what I read for the week. So I was pretty good this week. I read the entirety of Sad Girls, which I talked about extensively. I read most of Strange the Dreamer, or listened to rather. I think I have, how many hours left? I have about 3.5 hours left of Strange the Dreamer, so that's not too bad. And so that means I made it like 3/4 or 4/5 of the way through, something like that. Math is hard when you're sick. Anyway, I also made it through about 50 pages of Like a Mother, and I started The Power of Now and I started The Poppy War, but I didn't get very far into either of those, so those will be books for another reading vlog. I don't really have thoughts on them yet. Yeah, so I had a really pretty good reading week. It was mostly consumed with Sad Girls, which unfortunately I didn't love, and I did a lot of peripheral reading, listened to a lot of audiobook, so I'm really excited about next week's reading vlog because a bunch of new exciting books are coming out, such as An Absolutely Remarkable Thing by Hank Green and Vengeful by V.E. Schwab. I cannot be more excited. I'm going to see her on tour this week, and I'm just so pumped. Anyway, I'm gonna go now, but I hope that you enjoyed this reading vlog, and I hope to see you for next one. Bye.